The summative form function is designed to allow the observer and team members to provide summative remarks, feedback, or scoring using standard or user-designed fillable PDF forms. Up to 3 different forms can be used and included for each observation. Once filled out, they can be viewed by any member of the observation team via the expanded dashboard or the team table. Now, SMT has provided some standard forms the user might consider when providing summative feedback, or the user can create, add, and use fillable PDF forms that are standard to their school or their teacher education program. There are 3 quick steps the user has to take to incorporate the use of summative forms into the observation. Step 1 is loading the summative forms into your SMT account. Step 2 is choosing which forms to use for a specific observation. And step 3 is using the summative form post-observation, filling it in, and putting it someplace where the rest of the team members can look at those comments. Let's look at step number 1, which is loading summative forms into your SMT account. Now, first of all, these forms must be fillable PDFs. So at this point, I'm assuming you have those completed. But to load summative forms into your SMT account, you go to your login name, down to the drop-down, click on Summative Forms, and the first thing you do is type a form name, such as Science Observation Rubric. And if you want to make that Form 1, you just click and you go Form 1, or you can change it to Form 2 or 3, but I'm going to leave that as Form 1, and then I'm going to go find it. So it's on my computer, and I'm going to find the qualitative standard Form 1, choose it, submit it, and now I have that loaded into my SMT account. Now I could edit this and give it a different name or give it a different type. I could call it type 2 versus type 1, or I could delete the form entirely if I wanted to get it out of my system. And that's all there is to it. You load any form that you want into your system that you think you might use. I'll put another one in. Let's call it the qualitative standard Form 3. It's going to be Form 3. I'm going to find it on my computer. And here it is. Select it, submit it, and now it's loaded into my system. That's all there is to step number 1. Now let's go back to the dashboard. So step 2 is really simple. We can do step 2, which is choosing the specific forms you want to use for that particular observation. And that may change whether it's a midterm observation or a final observation or who you're doing the observation on. But we're choosing the forms you want to use. You can do that in the process of when you're creating a new observation and you get to this screen, you can choose summative forms here. You can say for Form 1, I'd like the standard qualitative. For Form 2, I want the observation rubric. And for Form 3, I would like the quantitative standard form. And we simply save that. And that's the end of the process for step 2. But we can also get at where we would choose a particular summative forms by going back. If we forgot to do it or didn't do it on the initial lesson setup, we could go back in through the gear box here, the gear icons, choose summative forms here, and again, change or choose the forms that we wish to use for that particular observation from here. As long as we haven't filled out any yet, we can change or we can pick those forms. And that's the end of step 2. So step number 3 occurs after you've finished either the qualitative or quantitative observation. And you can see here I have finished the qualitative. My team table button is showing. And we're going to click on the team table and go into this part of SeeMeTeach so we can select the forms that we wish to use for this observation. Now, as I look at the screen, I see no forms have actually been selected for this particular observation. So I'm going to close out of here and go back to the dashboard and bring up this observation and show you that here again is step 2. Step 2, I should have picked these forms. I'm going to pick that one, I'm going to pick this one, and I'm going to pick this one and save. And then when I go back into my dashboard and go back into Team Table, now here's what I have. So if you skip step 2, you see that more blank screen down here with nothing in it. Now step 3 probably occurs right after you finish either the qualitative or the quantitative lesson. And I've just finished this qualitative observation, and I can go into Team Table, and this is where I would fill in and add my summative comments on the summative forms. Now, let's fill in summative form 3. Now, first of all, I may or I may not have this form on my computer. If I created the form, it's probably already located on my computer as a fillable form. But if I didn't have it, I would need to get it, and I can get it right off of the screen by clicking on Fillable Form 3. It will bring up the form. Now, I can't type comments and have it saved right from here. What I need to do is download that form and save it to my hard drive. Now, once it's saved to my hard drive, I can open it up, type in my comments, or click in my ratings, and then save it again. And I'm going to save it with a name that reflects the observation, such as Craig B. Summative Form 3. So I'm going to save that on my hard drive. And then I'm going to go back into my Team Table, find the form I just completed, identify it, upload it, and notice two things happen. The name of the form is here, and there's a new icon here. And whatever feedback I typed in that icon, any team member or myself can click on that icon, and that form will come up with the typed comments or the numbers existing in that form. And we can read each other's feedback for that particular observation. I can do that for all 3 forms if I wish, and if I did, then there would be 3 icons under the summative form columns here. An icon for 1, an icon for 2, an icon for 3. Now, once that icon is there, we can also get at those summative forms via the expanded dashboard. See, it's here. And so I can pull up that comments form from the expanded dashboard and look at those comments without having to go into that lesson observation and all the way to the team table. I can look at it directly from the expanded dashboard. So there are only 3 steps to getting summative comments forms installed and used. Like any other feature, once you practice it once, it'll become second nature. And this is a very powerful feature for collaboration between team members. Any team member can look at any other team member's comments, scores, and ratings and stay on the same page as the rest of the team members.